welcome to World Sim Series and welcome to the virtual Bikernieki circuit in Riga. We're here for the first round of the E-BaTCC Championship Season 5 here on the World Sim Series platform, utilizing the BMW 325i Cup, which has had incredible success in the Baltic Touring Car Championship. One of the, definitely the most populous class in the Baltic Touring Car Championship, and always a favorite for the sim racing folk who come in to the winter season, to the end of the winter season, preparing for next year's Baltic Touring Car Championship. So you'll see real drivers and virtual drivers. €100 up for grabs for the championship winner, and a random driver that uses the KTK skin will be picked for a test session of about 30 to 40 kilometers with the KTK Racing BMW 325 Cup car. I'm joined, as always, by Lodinas.
Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm happy to say hello to every one of you in this 5th season already of the virtual Baltic Touring Car Championship with the most popular car in the real world, the BMW 325 Cup, as Gustas already mentioned. And as in the real world, so in the virtual, it is a very competitive car. It's not the fastest one. That's why most of the drivers are really close to each other, and you can see already 19 drivers fit in 1 second, actually to less than 1 second in this qualifying session, and we have 4 minutes to go. Currently, Edvinas Žadeikis, our real-world driver, is in the lead, but well, he cannot be certain of the pole position because we've seen quite a big battle in the pre-qualifying round. So he has to stay on track and he has to do as good as he can, and you can see the second-placed driver, Ungurs, is currently only 2,000 seconds slower than Edvinas Žadeikis. He's in the pit lane though, and he's back on the racetrack. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remain in this session. The bad news for Ungurs is that the tires of this BMW are cold when the drivers hit the track for the first time, and it takes roughly, well, at least 3 laps to warm the tires up. So I think Ungurs will not have the opportunity to run slightly better in the session. So good news for Edvinas, but well, that's far from over. Svetins is currently 3rd. Kovalevskis, I think Kovalevskis finished 2nd in the pre-qualifying run with a lap time of 1 minute 32.4. So he is the one to watch in this session. He's right on the tail of... Is it Edvinas Žadeikis? Yes, indeed it is. So he's using the slipstream, and he can show us some different lap times in a couple of laps that are still to go in the qualifying session.
It does take a while to get those Nakang tires up to temperature, even the virtual ones. But keeping in mind the low power nature of this car, and Svetins up to pole position by just 4 thousandths of a second, Edvinas Žadeikis will need some kind of response. Well, he needs to find 4 thousandths of a second in a 1.5 minute lap. I guess easier said than done. But it is important to be in the slipstream, to be behind someone, to get that draft, because there are quite a few straights around the Bikernieki circuit. The walls are quite tight. The walls are quite close. The track's quite tight, but it does have those high-speed areas where the draft will help you sliding around. That's Reitz down in 5th position. He's also on an out lap, but working the tires, working the fronts especially, and trying to slide the rears a little bit. This is Grodinas. He's in P6, just 0.02 of a second behind Reitz that we just saw, who's going on to start his final qualifying attempt. Whoever crosses the line now, well, he's going to start whoever crosses the line now will start their final qualifying attempt. Grodinas passes one of the cars who's still preparing for a lap. You can see how much he's trying to wrestle that car into the turn. Through the quick chicane here at the end of the lap, it's a really easy place to make a mistake. We've seen drivers do it in the past, both real and virtual, and we see a driver doing it in front. That's one of the Dream to Drive liveried cars, so I believe that might be Edvin Žadeikis trying to prepare himself for his final qualifying run. Nope, Edvin Žadeikis much further down, but he started his final qualifying attempt. Ungurs as well, as we saw, preparing as he got a fresh new set of tires bolted onto the car, and he needs that lap to prepare. Now he should be on a hot lap finally. Still a few drivers further down the field that we can expect to go up. 19 cars on track. Remember, we've got 2 races this evening, 2 times 20 minutes. Second race.
Sorry, Gustas, we actually have 23 drivers in the first division, and we have 4 divisions taking part this evening. But somehow we see only 19 drivers on our list. So maybe that's something we will have the chance to change slightly later. Well, 23 drivers in total.
Right. Qualifying is done, so the final laps still to be finished. This is Svetens. He is trying to improve one more time, but Žadeikis should be crossing the line earlier than him. We saw him a bit further up in the lap, but this is your provisional pole sitter. No, Žadeikis backs out of the lap. Will Svetens do the same? No, he's still continuing on.
Well, you know, that's no surprise for me that Svetens is currently in the provisional pole position, because if you take a closer look at the livery that he's racing in this virtual championship, it belongs to our 2023 E-BaTCC champion Leo Messenger, who won the championship in this car.
No improvement, where's Ungurs? So this is the final driver that can actually make a difference. He's down, well, anybody can still make a difference who's still on the lap, but this is the driver who's closest to making a difference. Only 0.06 of a second off pole position. Like I said, 2 races this evening, 2 times 20 minutes, and the second race, it's the top 10 reversed. So 10th is your golden ticket for pole position for race 2, but pole position for race 1 is the qualifying result here. Ungurs coming up to the line. Let's see if he can improve.
No. Well, but he can do a beautiful spin. Yep, that's a full 360
We should award him pole position just for that.
Yes.
I'm not sure the others would agree, but that's our vote.
Yes, indeed it is. So, for your reference, these are the qualifying results. Once more, just to prove that we have 23 drivers in the first division. Svetens taking pole, Žadeikis finishing second. This is only for the start, for the first race. Ungurs third, only 6,000 separating 3 cars. That's actually unbelievable. Kovalevskis will start the race fourth, Zaikin fifth, Gubarevs from P6 rides 7th, Dominikas Graudinis 8th, Karolis Meškelis 9th, Ozolinš 10th, Sirmais 11th, Kiršis 12th, Ozolins 13th, Podens 14th, Thompson's 15th position, Rudzinskis 16th, Pliska 17th. A lot of Latvian drivers taking top 17 places. Zavarskis 18th, Mickevičius 19th, Šakalinis 20th, Talianos 21st, Mitkus 22nd, and Gornevs will take the last spot in the first division. Yeah, that was quick going through the results, just not to miss the race start.
By the way, second division pole position, that was done by Dimskis, a 1 minute 33.254. That's about 7/10 off pole position, and he would have been around 18th in the first division. So the division split on the World Sim Series platform working perfectly, I would say, splitting the right drivers the right way. But this on your screens is Svetens. To the drivers left of him, right on our screens, will sit Edvin Žadeikis and Ungurs right behind them. Don't count out Kovalevskis, who's got a chance starting from row 2 of the grid as the lights come on for Season 5 of E-BaTCC, and we're away. Looks like Svetens gets a decent start, but Žadeikis is right there next to him, staying side by side. Nope, actually Svetens got in front. Žadeikis finds the gap between Svetens and Ungurs, and now down into turn 1. This is a big choke point. To the outside, Žadeikis trying to use his real-life experience to make any moves done. 3 wide, 4 wide in the background, but this is the battle for the lead still. That's a battle for P4, and they're coming up 3 wide, 4 wide, I think, for P10 or so. Still coming through the well, I would consider this the back straight, but there are quite a few back straights around this place, through the S's and now into the left-hander super quick, and the wall approaches you on the left, and then the wall approaches you on the right. Oh, somebody off into the gravel, but this is your battle. Radekis needs to defend and needs to try and find a way through, but doesn't happen now. Looks like everybody, the top three away cleanly, but that's a nice move by Ungurs, who's trying to get to the inside. Radekis blocking the inside. And Svetins now has to block the inside as well because Radekis is defending, so Svetins is risk. Ungurs to the outside using the momentum of his car. Now Radekis is boxed in 3 wide into the S. They try and come, but no. Radekis has to back out of it because Ungurs comes past, but they're still side by side. Another touch. Radekis off wide and now down into P4.
He's going to lose a lot of places because he ran wide and clipped the gravel outside of the racetrack. Well, there was no place for Edmond Radekis, and he's being pushed out wide again, and he needs to control the car right now and will get himself together, because all these small mistakes will cost a lot of places to be lost, because, well, a small mistake cost you like maybe 5/10, and there are a lot of other cars around.
Oh, I'm not sure the stewards will be happy about that. Again, off into the gravel, Radekis, he's trying to be desperate here. I'm not sure you need to do that because you've still got race 2. Somebody off into the background. Oh, big accident.
Yep.
That's what happens in 325 Cup, both real and virtual. Turn 1 here at Bikernieki, a real choke point. That was Carlos Miškelis.
Yeah. So he lost quite a lot of places, and that's going to be a very hard job for Carlos Miškelis to try and get back into the higher positions. He's down in P21. So unlucky for some of the drivers, one of those being Edmond Radekis. He's now running 5th, finally managed to get back on the racetrack, but I'm not sure how that's going to end for Edvinas, because, well, that contact didn't seem so clean to me into turn 1. We have live stewards. All the incidents will be looked at after the race, not during the race, so the penalties will be known only, well, when the race ends, within 24 hours of crossing the finish line. So we have to stay focused on what's happening on the track at this moment, and currently Svetins is enjoying the lead. Well, and it looks like, well, it's similar to the real world, because we are used to seeing this vehicle being at front of the field most of the time. Maybe
Look
with
at the body roll these cars have down into turn 1, really putting pressure on the Nakang tires, the virtual Nakang tires on these cars, and down into turn 1. This is Rodinis, who's Mitkus actually goes through 11th. That was a bump from Zavarskis, telling Mitkus to get going. And there's quite a few of those KTK cars up and around that 10th position. Side by side once again, double side by side, and 2 wide. Now it's just 1 2 wide, and coming into the left-hander, I think 2 doesn't fit, and smartly backs out of it. This is a battle for...
Oh, Zavarskis off the racetrack into the barrier, and there's a big crash, and he collected another car.
Well, we've seen cars flip here at Bikernieki. Not the first time that has happened. Happens in the virtual world as well. Race continues as Svetins continues to lead. This was Gornev's. Not sure that steering wheel is. I think that suspension might have taken a bit of a knock. Oh, another knock, just to make sure that that car is not going anywhere. This is Miškelis, who was off in turn 1, now up to 17th because everybody else around him has crashed out. Actually, Zaikin is doing a good job staying with the lead pack. He has benefited from all the chaos that happened before. Radekis 1.5 seconds behind Reitz, who's in 4th position. So it is Latvia, Estonia for your top 3. We did have Radekis there, but he had some issues. This is battle for 14th, Mickiewicz over Italianos, who is the only driver not from the Baltic states, and he gets a good push down into turn 1, just to motivate him a little bit more to push down the straight. 3 wide once again. The action doesn't stop in the 325 Cup. Still 3 wide. I don't think they're going to make the next turn 3 wide. Nope. somebody has to back out of it. Talianos, as I've said, the only driver not from the Baltic states racing in the championship. He's from Cyprus, but still soldiering on up into 14th position. And the golden ticket, by the way, Grodinis holds that in 10th place. He's got a 2.9 second gap behind him, so he's quite comfortable in that 10th spot. Remember, P10, that grants you pole position for race 2.
Yep, so there is a story in the background why we see a lot of KTK Racing Division liveries this evening. The team principal of KTK Racing Division, Povilas Bonkevicius, he is partnering with this championship, and well, there is a nice prize for one of the drivers participating in the first division and wearing the KTK livery in the race. One lucky driver will receive a full test session in a real 325 Cup car in one of the Baltic racetracks. It will depend on where the driver is from and when the test schedule will be taking place, but that's our championship partners, KTK Racing Division, coloring our races this and the coming evenings in the future. 4 rounds in total in this championship, reflecting the real world, racing on all the racetracks, on the virtual ones, the ones that the championship will visit in this season. That's the first round from Bikernieki. We will race at Estonia, the Porsche ring. The second round of the virtual championship will take us to Lithuanian racetrack Nemuno Žiedas, who was recently repaved, well, at least part of it, and the last round will head to Poland, Tor Poznan circuit, which every driver is excited, I'm pretty sure about that, not only for the virtual track, but eagerly waiting for the race in reality.
I'm not sure if it's the first time that the Baltic Touring Car Championship has visited the Poznan circuit, but it definitely is for a while the first time that they have visited. I'm not sure if it's the first time overall, but I'm sure the drivers are very much excited, and to practice, I'm sure they're going to jump on the simulator and check out that circuit. This is Edvinas Žadeikis trying to hunt down top 3. Well, I think top 3 is kind of out of the question for him here. Car lap down, just letting them through. But I think he's got a shot at P4 here. The battle for the lead, 1.2 seconds. It's as comfortable as it can be, I guess, in the 325 Cup. But 1.2 seconds, that's a pretty decent gap where the car behind doesn't get as much slipstream. That does put Zaikin, who's half a second behind Ungurs, into a very nice position where the car ahead of him doesn't have slipstream, while he does. That's going to help him a lot down the straights. We'll see how a move against the car who doesn't have slipstream looks like, because Edvinas Žadeikis on the back of rights, he's going to try and make a move somewhere around this track. He doesn't have to rush this time, because the gap ahead, it's going to be difficult to pull that down, so he needs to stay calm, make the right move. He does have that contact down at turn 1 to keep in mind, and I'm sure it's in the back of his head. He's not probably very happy with himself about that, but he needs to stay calm and make the correct move to the inside, down into turn 1, because rights gives him some space, and that's P4 for Edvinas Žadeikis in the Dream to Drive car. Up another spot. Obviously, starting from P2, this is not where he wants to be, but his main rival, or at least the rival that he was on the front row with, Svetins, if everything stays the same, he'll be down in 10th, while Žadeikis will be starting 3 places higher up.
Yep, 2 races count, and well, you get points for every race that you finish, but the first one, you can call it a Ulm one, but the second race where we will see the top 10 drivers in a reversed order. Currently Grodinis is running 10th. The fastest lap time of Grodinis, well, it's 1:33.5, is it, in this race? Yep, indeed it is. So he's more than 1 second slower than the fastest driver in this race, Svetens, who has the fastest lap time to his name at this moment, 32.4. So
it's a big advantage to be on pole here, it looks like, because you can't, if you get the start right, you're going to hold the lead down into turn 1. You're probably going to hold it all the way up to that super quick left-hander. And if there's people who are similar speed behind, but much faster ones closing in, they'll get to the ones before earlier, maybe get stuck at some points, and that gives you a chance to run away. We've seen it time and time again here on the World Sim Series platform. These reverse grid races throw up some very, very interesting results. This is a battle for 15th. Karolis Miškatis has gotten up. We saw him facing definitely the wrong direction at turn 1.
Oh, that's late on the brakes from Matas Mickiewicz.
It almost looked like he was about to make a move to the outside down at turn 2. Not sure that is the wisest decision.
I'm sure it's pretty hard to pick up your correct brake points and brake marks when you're driving behind 2 drivers in front, sitting right on the tail. Your vision is kind of blocked. There are no brake markers on the Bikernieki racetrack, and well, some of the drivers use the different colors on the pavement to maybe nail those braking points, and that's why maybe Matas Mickiewicz brakes slightly later, but now he is on the move into the inside, into that second right-hander of the Bikernieki racetrack, and I think that move is done. Well, not quite yet. We are approaching those
gonna back out into the chicane. Yep, that's the smart thing to do. Well, sometimes we've seen the drivers don't really have braking points, and they might use the car ahead as their braking point, or at least their brakes as they run into the back of them and try to stop that way. We've seen it not be super successful quite a few times today. Maybe race 2, everybody will be a bit more in tune with actually how the car brakes, how the car ahead brakes, and how much space you actually need to get it stopped. Obviously not a lot of running that they do with the 325 Cup cars, and at least not that much running in a field as competitive as this. This is Ozolins, and he is exploring the track limits here at Bikernieki. Not the biggest issue around this place. You're not going to have that many track limit violations, because once you're outside of track limits, you're either in the gravel or in the barrier.
Yeah, but the gravel slows you down dramatically, and we've seen one of the Ozolins slowing down a little bit more than the other, and that's where a real-world driver, Julius Kirches, took opportunity and moved himself 1 place up into P8. Well,
I didn't even realize that was for position. I thought that was a car letting someone through who was a lap down.
Nope. Yeah. Well,
that's how big the difference is, I guess. Once you go off and touch the gravel and slow down.
Yep, especially in that corner, because it's a high-speed corner, and on the outside the gravel slows you. Well, if you clip a little bit too much, it slows you too much down. And if you got rivals right behind, I think you can lose up to 1 second. So that's where Ozolins lost the position, but it looks like Julius Kirches is about to lose that one. Nice
inside.
Move.
Wow, he opened that door beautifully from behind. Did Ozolin? No,
that's Kirches defending from Ozolins. Yeah, we have 2 Ozolins in this race. I believe that's father and
one
son.
One with an H?
Yeah.
No, but the one's with an H, so maybe it's a completely unrelated person.
I think that's
position, by the way.
I think that's the father and son. Oh, and Kirches is now clipping the gravel.
Oh. Yep, and that's what I said. Look at how big the speed difference is. That's Grodinis up into 9.
Yeah, but you know what just happened?
Somebody's letting them through.
Yeah, Julius Kirches just took himself, gave himself the provisional pole position for a second race. Maybe that's a little bit of some strategy.
That did not look very intentional. I don't think running into gravel trap is very intentional.
Of course.
By the way, everybody running fixed setups. That means it's all about who's behind the wheel and not who set up the car, who finds the little tricks that you can find in sim racing. It's all about the drivers. Julius Kirchis back in attack mode. He's trying to catch up to Grodinis, and I believe Kirchis runs the only other Dream to Drive livery car apart from Edna Shadekis, who's not really closed in that much to the cars ahead. I don't think he wants to do that.
He might want to do that, but look at the pace. They are mostly on the same pace. Remember, the 3 cars were separated only by 6,000ths of a second. So
sometimes when you're catching up, you have that motivation to catch up. But if you think that you can do it, I think Edvina Shadekis has enough experience in these cars to know that that's not a gap you close down in the 325 Cup, especially with drivers of this level. Kirchis versus Grodinis. Let's see if anybody touches the gravel trap this time. That is, I think that was Grodinis quite wide, and this is side by side. Kirchis versus Grodinis. He didn't touch the gravel, crucially. So now, on your left-hand side, on the inside of the turn, that was Grodinis. Kirchis trying to get the cut back on the exit. Not going to work. He's going to have to try it one more time, but it doesn't look like they're being too aggressive. I'm sure they want that pole position, so maybe sometimes they just back out of the move.
By the way, both of the drivers have raced in real world. Kirchis has spent 1 full season. I might be mistaken, maybe 2 full seasons in the 325 Cup. Dominikas Grodinis has tested out the real 325 Cup in Porsche Ring last year and participated in the Nankang 2 hours race, so he knows the car slightly less better than Julius Kirchis, but both of them have an age difference separated roughly in half. Look at what's happening in front. While we are focusing on this battle for the provisional pole position for the second race, there's only 2/10 separating Svetens and Ungurs.
Oh, and what happened here? I think it's... I thought we were on them already. I thought it was traffic. Maybe he touched that gravel trap because we saw how much time it loses. To the outside, Ungurs. Now they're side by side, coming down into the almost hairpin here at the back part of the track onto maybe what is the back straight around the outside. What a move from Ungurs, but he's still having to go side by side. Now it's advantage Svetens, because he is on the inside here, still side by side, still they're coming through. I think Ungurs has just about got it. Yes, he has. And with just one more lap to go, this battle for the lead has become massive. And they've also got Zaikin right behind them, Jadekis waiting for them to make something.
Well, at least keep battling. Yeah, maybe keep battling. You know, 2 cars traveling around 1 corner lose roughly 3/10 per that corner, and that might give Edvina Jadekis an opportunity. So he has to sit tight because we will start the last lap of the first race right now. So
white flag in the air, and this is going to be their best chance. Down into turn 1, you can really outbrake a car into here. Let's see if Svetens makes a move. He has his car on the inside, so showing his nose, hoping that Ungurs might make a mistake down into turn 1. Nobody does. These are very, very highly skilled drivers. I don't think a little move to the inside will scare them off. Up the small hill they'll go, through the not so straight into the left-hander. This is where most of the mistakes come, because they touch that gravel trap and then go super duper slow, as close to the wall as you can on the left-hand side. Looks like they've all gotten through it cleanly, but Ungurs has actually extended his gap. 0.4 of a second, that gap for the lead now. This is going to require something special from Svetens on this final sector, and going to require a mistake by Ungurs, really using up all of the track, both of them. Jadek is behind them. You can see that he's a bit more calm with the way he's using the car, but this looks fantastic for Ungurs, who was trailing, and we thought the battle for the lead was done. Well, it's never done in the 325 Cup class. And starting from P3, second row of the grid, he's had a wonderful race, at least race 1.
Yep, so well, 2 corners to go. Well, he just gave himself a little present at P10 for second race. We are going to patiently wait and see how that pans out. But now Ungur's crossing the line and taking the win of the first race of the new E-BaTCC season. Svetens finishes second, Zaikin third, Radekis fourth. Reitz takes the fifth spot, and it looks like Rodinis is keeping the 10th spot, but well,
he lost a lot of time as well.
Yep, so maybe they were in some sort of a battle, and maybe contacts were not avoided, but well, anyways, that's the pole position for the second race, and he will be in quite a different story for the second race in roughly 4 minutes time, well, while all the drivers finish the race. It makes me wonder what Svetens did all wrong and lost that much time. He had a big lead, but maybe he got distracted or got tired of running on himself, by himself, all the race long. And that was more than enough.
I think I'm sure that has to be with that very difficult left-hander where they touch the grass. They touch the gravel trap, and that really slows the car down. I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yep, so let's take a quick promotional break, and with more action from the real 325 Cup Championship, and we will be back roughly in 3 minutes, so basically in no time.
Welcome back to the virtual Bikernieki circuit and the E-BaTCC and the 325 Cup. We've got Ungurs on pole position. He won race 1. He'll be in 10th position for race 2. Svetens with what we assume was a mistake in 2nd position. Zaikin took 3rd. Radekis from the first row of the grid, the outside of the first row of the grid, he's down in 4th position, but obviously that incident in his mind. Reitz finishes in 5th, 6th for Gubarevs. Ozolin's in 7th. Ozolinch with an H at the end finishes in 8th. Kirchis finishes in 9th, 10th for Grodinis. Kovalevskis in 11th, Mitkus 12th. Shagalinis 13th, 14 for Pliska, Meshkalis 15, 16 for Talianos, our only non-Baltic driver from Cyprus. Mitskevich is in 17th, 18 for Thompsons. Rudzinskis in 19th, he's the first car to be a lap down. Zavarskis in 20th, Gornevs, Sirmais, and Podens did not take the checkered flag. They're 7, 12, and 13 laps down, respectively. But back to track action, we should be going shortly. And we should be getting green in about 50 seconds time. So, reminder, what you saw in race 1, well, top 10 gets flipped, and Grodinis on pole position with Kirches lining up next to him. We saw a great start by Svetins last time out, so the right-hand side of the grid is definitely clean enough to have a good launch. This is quite unique, by the way, with pole position on a standing start being on the inside because of the super short run down into turn 1. Pole position has to be on the right-hand side. Normally you'd see it on the left-hand side. As the lights come on, 10 more seconds to go until we go green for one more time here at round 1 of the E-BaTCC. And we're off one more time. That's a bad getaway from Grudinis, and this is going to be a chance for Kirches to the outside. He's going to come to the inside. Is going to be Mickiewicz, was it? No, that's Ozolins to the inside, and they go free wide down into turn 1 for the lead. Kirches up into P1. Grudinis, horrible start by him, and he's got somebody on the outside. I think that was Ozolins too.
Yeah. Quite a lot of cars, and it's quite difficult to separate all the drivers that participate in those incidents. Yep, good race start.
4 wide. Was that 5 wide heading down the straight? And the 3-5 Cup action always continues. Bumping
they
and
always deliver.
Because Robin's racing up into that gravel trap that we were talking about so many times. But looks like no more cars flipping around. So Kirches leads ahead of Osolins, ahead of Grodinis, ahead of Radekis, who had that difficult race 1. He's going to try and do something better in race 2. Meškelis, he's recovering from the race 1 spin. He's now up into 12th position. To the inside was somebody on somebody. It's hard to pick cars out now. Grodinis 4/10 of a second behind Osolins. He might try and make a move, and he does have to make a move quick if he wants to do it before Radekis can make a move on both of them. Having a look at where other drivers are set, Svetins is in 6th. Zaikin is in 10th. Ungurs 19th. He's had a horrible start. I think he was probably involved in one of those incidents.
Yep, he was one of the cars that was pushed off the racetrack, and he had to take a wider line, and now his second race became a nightmare. Definitely he'll be looking at a higher place finish in the first race, but that's a big point loss for our first race winner. And well, he will have to find his way through a lot of these BMWs. Look, the cars are going off the racetrack.
He has to be careful because we've seen cars further down the field. They've been making big mistakes.
Yep. Oh, back to the front.
Speaking of mistakes, he's gone off and touched that gravel trap, and now Edna Radekis up into 3rd position.
That's an easy move.
There was no move there. Again, I think it looks like somebody's actually purposely letting them through, but remember, it's a low-powered car. It's a very low-powered car. It doesn't have crazy grip, so you're kind of carrying a lot of momentum with it, and if you lose that momentum, especially on a fast part of the track, you're a sitting duck down that straight. This is side by side. Meškelis gets in front. He's now up into 10th position. He was so unlucky in race 1. Now he's trying to recover the points. Ungurs is down in 18th. I think he's side by side with someone because the gap's super
Zaikin
close.
and Sakalinis just had a contact. Remember, Zaikin finished 3rd. Now he was down in 12th. Now he's back in 11th. There's a car spinning. I think that's Matas Mickiewicz. He's off the racetrack. Has to get back safely to not make any further mistakes. Edvinas Radekis in some racing battle situations with Ozolins and Kirches. By the way, 2 Dream to Drive drivers In the real life, in the last season, Edvin Žadeikis was the coach of Julius Kiršis, so let's see how they will fit on one virtual racetrack if they meet each other, because they are separated by one Latvian driver in the middle between themselves. That's Osolinč, who is doing a great job, and he's looking to take that win of the second race, the first round of the E-BaTCC Championship 2024. This is the 5th season already. It looks like it became a huge success. This year we have 4 divisions in total racing at the same time. The drivers were split into the divisions. Regarding the pre-qualifying results, the drivers had to complete laps, and the faster you went, the higher division you participate in. Svetins still in 6th, right behind K. Osolinč. He's trying to gain one spot, but running a little bit too wide slows you too much down, and you lose all the possibilities to take that position of your rival, and you have to settle back and try to think of a new plan. Let's look at what Edvin Žadeikis can do. Coming out of the final corner onto the straight, where the best possibility for an overtake takes place. He's a little bit too far behind.
Make a move down into turn 2. I think he might try and outbrake Osolinč here. Nope, doesn't even try to stick his nose in to test the waters. By the way, Ungur is making good progress. He's now up into 15th position, trying to get those points back. We'll see if we have any team orders between Žadeikis and Kiršis up in the front. But first, Žadeikis needs to get past Osolinč. He's staying back for the moment. He's not doing anything irrational. He knows he's got the gap behind him. He knows he doesn't have to rush. To the inside, he's going to show his nose, just seeing how Osolinč will react to him making a move. If there will be any defense coming up, maybe he can make Osolinč make a mistake. We'll see what happens. Again to the inside. He's showing his nose more aggressively now. I'm not sure that's really a place you're going to make a move, but he's just informing Osolinč that he's going to make a move one way or another.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be down into turn 1 or turn 2.
He tries to go through, but these small actions, well, they don't look any different, but look at how much time they cost for the drivers. Julius Kiršis is already 8/10 ahead of both of these two drivers, and only small different line changes cause the drivers to lose at least 1 to 2 tenths per 1 corner, because one goes a little bit into the inside, the other goes slightly defensive, and that's more than enough to lose you a little bit of time. And that's what our current race leader is hoping for. And of course, Edvin Žadeikis, he knows that he's slightly faster. He wants to go through as fast as possible. And look at Dominykas Graudinis, Osolinč and Svetins. There's your chance for our race 1 second place finisher. He wants to get himself a little bit higher up the order. So far, so good. He's up to P5.
Yep, doing a good job from 9th to 5th, with his closest competitors being further back, side by side, almost through the left kink. But his competitors, ooh, touching again on the braking zone. Graudinis not wanting to give this up too easily. Žadeikis hasn't made a move either. He's trying to now, and Osolinč really putting up a defense now. Interesting to see that. 12 minutes to go. Does he think he can hold Žadeikis on for 12 minutes? I don't think he can. I don't think he can do it for one more turn, because they're side by side through the S's, and Žadeikis doesn't make the same mistake that he did.
Oh, smart move from Žadeikis. He's taking the
move.
best line for an overtake on the Bikernieki circuit, and actually ends it up until the final corners, and Osolinč runs a little bit wide. Nice play by Edvin Žadeikis, smart move. He basically outsmarted his rival and made no mistakes, chose the best lines around the corner and took the second spot. Now he's on the chase, 1.5 seconds, 12 minutes to go. Julius Kiršis in the lead. Let's wait and see how this second race will end in the battle for the win. To Osolinč, 3rd and 4th. Svetins is up to 5th. He will be looking at a better result of this second race for sure. He's not thinking about the win anymore, but well, he gained 4 spots from the start of the second race. That's already a Nice job done. He needs to stay on the racetrack and maybe gain 1 or 2 places till the end of this race. We have a little battle behind. That's right, Grodinis and Gubarevs. Grodinis lost 5 places already and running a little bit wide. That's gonna cost him another spot, I'm pretty sure about that, and maybe even 2 spots. 1 lost, 2nd to go, and Grodinis down to P8.
This is lost. Žadikis has caught up about half a second to Kiršis ahead.
Well, remember, the drivers that are currently in front are the drivers that finished lower down the order in the first race. They were slightly slower than the leaders of the first race, and Žadek is finding himself in 2nd position right now. He's delivering the performance, clear track ahead of him, and he'll definitely be thinking about the win of the 2nd race.
See if Žadekis might play a bit of rear gunner. He doesn't have to yet because the gap's pretty big. But Ozolins, I think he might get past. We're definitely looking at him to probably get past. No, actually, I mistook Ozolins for Svetins because Svetins is still in 5th. He's making progress the smart way. He's not taking unnecessary risks. He knows how far behind his competitors from race 1 were, especially Ungurs, but he does have Edvinas Žadekis, who was 4th in race 1, and he's gunning for the lead. And I think if he doesn't make a mistake, he's guaranteed of the lead, because I think Julius Kiršis might back off the throttle a bit.
Yeah, I look at the lap times 32.5 versus 33.4, but it looks like Julius Kiršis made a small mistake on the previous lap time, because on this lap they are going on a very similar pace. So I'm pretty sure Julius Kiršis just made a small mistake on the previous lap, and now he's holding pretty strong. And well, you could already see, and you can still see, how hard it is to make a move in these vehicles on a racetrack like Bikernieki. All of the drivers are on a very similar pace, and it's quite easy to be defensive. You have to be really faster and much more smarter to make that move done, though he's right on the tail of Julius Kiršis into turn 1. And, well, a battle for the lead is about to start right now. Edvinas has 1.8 seconds gap between himself and the nearest rival right now, so he has to kind of maybe start making a move, though the drivers behind him are also in their own battle, maybe losing a little bit time. But if he'll get stuck behind Julius Kiršis, he might risk to lose the chance to take a win. Julius Kiršis going defensive, but not too much. Still leaving a little bit of the door open for Edvinas Žadekis into the first right-hander of the Bikernieki racetrack, and well, he will try to get back. Still side by side, there is a big battle in the background behind these drivers. You look at Julius Kiršis; he's right into the inside
battle. Okay, he's backed out of it. That was tight, but this is Ozolins, Svetins, and Ozolins.
Yeah, 2 times Ozolins versus 1 time Svetins. A nice little 3-car battle. Look at Rites and Gubarev, by the way. These 3 drivers battling each other. They just swapped places, I believe. Ozolins just took the place from K. Ozolins took the place from R. Ozolins, and now Svetins is next on the line. But look at Rites and Gubarevs. They are right on the tail of these 2 drivers. Don't leave the door open if you don't want to lose the position. That's what Ozolins just managed to do. He forced Svetins to choose the outside line into turn 2, and that's where you want your rival to see in this particular corner. And look at
very wide from Svetins. Super wide from Svetins. I think he tried to make a move around the outside, but he's let Rites onto the inside. Rites backs out of it. Svetins will have 1 more try safely, because he's got Rites right behind him, and Rites will try to make a move as soon as he can. To the inside goes Svetins. No, backs out of it, just shows his nose to see what the reaction from Ozolins would be. And to the inside he's going to come once again, but Ozolins defends the inside onto the grass, trying to make a move on the
Oh,
grass.
there's a huge contact. Yep, the two drivers crashed into each other, and
once again for Svetins. Well, we've seen Edna Žadekis do something similar. Now we've seen Svetins run into the back.
Well, it's quite easy to make a mistake like this in races like these with low-powered vehicles traveling around the track on a very similar pace, almost identical pace. And as soon as you get into a battle with your rival, sometimes you lose those brake marks. Remember, Bikernieki racetrack does not have brake marks on the track presented, so it's quite easy for the drivers when they are in harsh battles to lose your brake marks, and it's quite easy to miss that ideal spot for braking. So small contact, they didn't lose a lot, but they still lost a couple of places at least. So Svetins down into P7. Actually, Zolinch lost quite a bit more. He's down in P8, so he was the driver who got hit from behind, and that cost him quite a lot. Look at lights. That's again a view that looks like the driver is just letting the other driver pass, but that's because they are clipping the gravel on the outside of the racetrack. Svetins trying to get back into P6 side by side with Dominykas Graudinis into that right-hander. Nice move by Svetins, but also nice compartment. Nice race partnership by Dominykas Graudinis. Doesn't want to get involved into troubles. I think both of the cars touched slightly, but both of them managed to stay on the racetrack. Svetins almost hitting that gravel to slow him down. Zolinch, I believe, ran a little bit wide. Yep, in the background, seeing him lose quite a lot of time, so the drivers can get too much excitement and they start making those mistakes, which cost quite a loss in a couple of corners.
Robbins racing, but now looking at the championship implications of that incident previously, I think Žadekis should go. Oh, off the road! That's Svetins. He got hit by Graudinis. Svetins loses the position, Graudinis bumps and goes in front. Svetins down into P7, he's got Zaikin behind him. So these two, who finished second and third in race 1, are now 7th and 8th. And remember, Zaikin was really struggling in the beginning of the race. Now he's up into 8th. Where's Ungurs? 11th. So these drivers have gotten very close after being at the complete other ends of...
And Ungurs actually right on the tail of Mitkus in the battle for P10, and he will definitely be willing to get that spot away. He won the first race. He wants as many points as possible to try and get what win around the outside. Will he be able to hold on to it? Still touching that curb a little bit, but keeping up the pace, not losing too much of speed, and that's how much faster Ungurs is around the Bikernieki racetrack than most of his rivals. Remember, he was the fastest driver, not only the winner, but the fastest lap time belongs to Ungurs of this race so far. Actually, Zaikin managed to put in a 32.4 in the second race, and 32.4 was the fastest lap of the first race. Zaikin went slightly faster than Ungurs in the first one. Still, Ungurs has quite a lot of pace around the racetrack this afternoon. That's why he managed to regain a lot of places after that lap 1 incident.
This is your battle for 7th. Svetins once again in front of Graudinis, but he's got to defend from Zaikin behind him. 0.2 of a second. Zaikin a little bit wide through the left-hander. He's got a back. Oh, touches the grass.
That's Graudinis actually touching the gravel, and he's really slow now. He was in front. He had that gap, so Svetins was not able to overtake Graudinis yet, but I think he just chose the better line around the first right-hander, and he holds the inside line into the second one. That should be an easy move. Svetins up to P6 already. That's good news for him because Zaikin is still stuck behind Dominykas Graudinis. And I think we are about to start the last lap. Yep, running around the final corners. Our leader of the race, Edvinas Žadeikis, though Dominykas Grudin is running wide again. So quite impatient on the right with the right foot, and that sends you wide around the track into the gravel and makes you lose yet another place. So Dominykas back into P8. He was running 8th quite a long time in this race. He was up to 6th, but after 2 mistakes on his own, he's back into that 8th spot. That gave
Pole
some
sitter, by
breathing
the way.
room.
He was on pole.
He was in the second
and he
race.
and he made that mistake right after the start. Right at the start.
Who stopped on the racetrack? That's Kirshis. That's Kirshis.
Kirshis. Why has his race has finished?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's out of fuel. Maybe he risked a little bit too much. Maybe his calculations were incorrect. We are on lap 13.
That's drama for Kirshis and drama for Dream to Drive. They held a super comfortable 1-2 at the front of the field, and now it's only going to be Edvinas Žadeikis taking the win. I think he's going to be across the line very, very shortly. If we can have a look at Edvinas Žadeikis, because the time has run out as he comes through the second to last turn to the right and the final turn to the left, really using his 325 Cup car, really getting on the Nakang tires and across the line to take the win in race 2. Edvinas Žadeikis takes race 2 and takes the lead of the championship, at least provisionally, until the stewards have looked over all of the results. Svetin's 6th, Zaikin 7th, Godinis finishes in 7th, Olželin's 8th, and 9th position goes to Ungurs, I believe.
Yep, it is Ungurs.
Yep, so he was dead last after lap 1. He's up into 9th position. So a very good recovery from him. Obviously, your race 1 winner. So at the front of the field, Žadeikis, Ozolins, Gubarevs, Wrights, and Svetins. That is your top 5 for race 2 provisionally, until the stewards can have a look over all of the results of race 1 and race 2. But big drama as Julius Kirshis, well, he either ran out of fuel or thought the race had already finished, because he stopped on the right-hand side on the exit of...
If he would have had a technical issue, we would have seen a crash or something similar happening to that race car, but it looked like that he just stopped on the track side and couldn't move any further. So I am assuming he made bad calculations, though this was the second race. He should have known better how much fuel is needed for the race, so that remains an unanswered question, but yeah, he lost the second position of the second race.
Misshift, that's what we hear.
Oh, and that's an engine blown. Yep, these cars, they have manual transmission, manual gearboxes, and if you shift down too fast, you can blow the engine or the gearbox. So that's what happened to Julius Kirshis. That's unfortunate. He was running second and he was safe with that position, nowhere to rush. Still, the drivers trying to be as fast as possible. That was the mistake, and that's a shame. Edvinas Žadeikis, who won the race, that's not the first time for Edvinas Žadeikis winning in races like these, and he knows the feeling of winning a race in a real 325 Cup class on the Bikernieki racetrack. So slightly better news after the unsuccessful first race for Edvinas. We will still wait for the decisions of the stewards to try and figure out what happened in that situation. By the way, we had 148 incidents in total in the first race, I believe. I'm not sure about the numbers of the second race, but
means a car has touched another car. So if they touch multiple times, it's going to come up as incidents. Even if they were upside, that's going to come up as incidents. It wasn't 170 separate crashes that happened on track.
Yeah,
It was just touches between cars.
The rubbing of doors, that's
Yep.
what it is, but the system catches it and the stewards will have to go through all of the incidents, so you can imagine that our race control guys are not taking a deep sleep through the night. They will have to finish a lot of work and look through a lot of accidents. Cheers for Tadas, our FIA approved race steward. He will do a good job. Yep, but that's a wrap up of the second race and the first round. You see the results on your screens of the second race. There will be unofficial results calculated shortly of the first round. Of the 5th E-BaTCC Championship on the World Sim Series platform, sponsored by KTK Racing Division. Remember, with that beautiful gesture and the best price any racer or sim racer could imagine. Real tests with the same car they race here on the virtual racetracks. Yep, but I believe this is it for the first round. The second race will take place in 2 weeks' time around the Lithuanian racetrack Nemuno Žiedas. So plenty of action to come in this season that just took off with a phenomenal first round. I actually love the racing quite a lot, and it was really similar to what we see in the real racetracks.
Yep, a lot of action, brilliant action, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time from the Lithuanian Nemuno Žiedas for round 2 of the E-BaTCC, sponsored by KTK. On the World Sim Series platform, you can join in on the races as well. Just sign up. Just go to worldsimseries.com, sign up, and race the E-BaTCC or any of the other series that World Sim Series provides.
Have a good one, and see you later.
Good night.